I'm Ashley Cochran, founder of Crowned for Ashes, a nonprofit organization which supports wounded, ill, and injured veterans and active duty service members of the United States Armed Forces and their spouses, as well as young widows, by providing opportunities for respite retreats and recreation on Florida's Emerald Coast. In 2013, my husband Chris returned from deployment with a heart valve infection that ultimately caused him to have 2 strokes when it broke off. He was life-flighted, spent 2 weeks in a coma fighting for his life, and underwent heart and brain surgery. We didn't know what to expect when Chris woke up, but we were just so thankful that he was alive. Ultimately, the strokes paralyzed him on the right side and took his ability to speak. He had gone from being a pilot to an intel officer and now not even being able to dress himself. It was a very low time for him and for us as a couple. Our whole world changed. We lived in the hospital for about 6 months while he went through intensive therapy. We had an incredible team of therapists that worked with Chris daily for months. He was in a wheelchair for about 6 months, and at around the 6-month mark, he was able to string 3 to 4 words together to form sentences. It was around the year mark that he was able to speak in sentences again. Chris really had a fighting spirit, and after he was discharged from the hospital, despite getting medically retired and not being able to go back to work, he became involved with adaptive sports and hunting, and we just started meeting all these other couples that were walking a similar path that we were walking. When we would have hard days, we would come out here and sit on the water, go to the beach, and just take it in and spend time together. And we realized how important that was for us, that we had been just putting this focus on warrior and caregiver, and the focus on husband and wife had kind of slipped away. So we really made the choice to celebrate our journey despite the hard parts, and just to choose joy daily and to choose to really focus on each other and on our marriage. We just thought, what if we could give other couples an opportunity to come down here and sit in nature and spend time together and reconnect? So the dream was born to form this nonprofit, and Chris and I started looking for land, and we prayed about land for a good 2 years before we finally felt like it was the right time and found the right piece of land, and we ended up closing on it about a year to the day before Chris passed away. I lost Chris in March of 2018, and obviously it was devastating, but beyond that, beyond just wondering how I could keep getting up and breathing every day, I could not fathom how I was supposed to carry on with this nonprofit without him. But I just felt like I could hear what Chris would say to me, babe, come on, you've got to keep up the mission. Let's go, let's do this. So I prayed long and hard about this nonprofit, and about 6 months after he passed away, I had this moment in the middle of the night where I just woke up and I felt like God was telling me to get out of bed and get a notebook, and just 4 pages poured out of me of what I felt like this nonprofit was supposed to be. So the idea went from what we originally thought was going to be building a house on this land with a little guest house attached to bring in one wounded, ill, and injured veteran couple at a time to just form a relationship with, give them the opportunity for respite, to now this idea of bringing in multiple couples at a time to form community, and ultimately also bringing in the season of life that I'm in now, which is young widows. I'm certainly no authority on any of this, but I've been a military spouse and I've been a caregiver, and I'm now walking the path of being a widow, losing my best friend way too young, and I know what it feels like to be trying to put the pieces back together and find yourself in an unexpected season. So really what the heart and the mission of this is just to build community with others who are walking through these same trials. So one day on this land, we'll sit a beautiful house where we can bring in couples to reconnect with one another, to relax, to spend time outside away from the rest of the world, to enjoy our beautiful beaches or some of the recreation that this area has to offer, and mostly just to have that time to be together and to meet other couples who are walking through similar things. And where we can bring in young widows to give them hope and fellowship with others that are walking this path at the same time they are, maybe a few steps ahead, maybe a few steps behind, and where we can create a community for them. I just think that every story matters, no matter how painful or difficult it is. It's worth being celebrated, and that's why we want to form this community. Chris always said that if he just helped one person, all of the pain and all of the loss and his physical disabilities was all worth it. There's this quote that he really loved that says, "We're all just walking each other home." We're all in this season that we didn't anticipate, that's really hard and really painful, but forming a community of people that can walk it together is really what Crowned for Ashes is about.